They say a university gate never truly sleeps. Even when the iron doors are locked, something inside is always awake. On that night, when the generator coughed and died, and the street lights blinked out one by one, Olowu Federal University breathed like a living thing. And some of us felt it. That heavy feeling in the chest, like the ground itself was warning us, if you stay here long enough, this place will collect something from you. The name of the school sounded proud when spoken on radio. Olowu Federal University, citadel of knowledge. But pride is a loud cloth. It covers rot very well. From the main gate, the campus stretched wide, old trees standing like tired elders, lecture halls with cracked walls and faded slogans, integrity, excellence, truth. Students walked past those words every day, heads down, hearts tired, pretending not to see the irony. My name is Tunde Akinwale, final year, Department of Public Administration, and this is the story of how knowledge became a curse. That semester began with silence. No official announcement, no memo, just whispers. They started in the hostels, moved through the corridors, sat quietly at the back of lecture halls. Guy, them don't increase am. Who tell you? My roommate. Him cousin the final year before. Same pattern. Pattern ke? Sort. That word, sort. It didn't shout. It didn't threaten. It just sat there like a snake warming itself in the sun. Sorting was not new. Everybody knew about it. But this time, it was different. This time, it was organized. Dr. Salami was our head of department. Tall man, always in neat kaftan. Spoke slowly, smiled too much. He liked to say things like, life is about understanding systems. We didn't know then that we were the system. The first sign came during course registration. Several names disappeared from the portal. Students who had paid their fees. Students who had registered on time. When they went to the department office, the secretary didn't even look up. Your file no complete, she said. But ma, go and meet your course advisor. Course advisors sent them to lecturers. Lecturers sent them back to the HOD. Round and round, like a shrine dance. By the third week, lectures became strange. Some lecturers stopped coming. Others came only once, stood in front of the class, looked at us like they were counting goats, and left without teaching. Then came the message. Not official, not written, it came through human mouth. If you know one suffer for exam, you know it in to do. That night, in Hostel B, 6 of us sat on one bunk bed. No light, just phone torch. Sweat on skin, fear in silence. Sola spoke first. If we not sort, then go fail us. Kola laughed, but it was dry. Fail ke? I dey read now, night and day. I didn't talk. I was remembering my mother's voice. Tunde, this is our last hope. My father had died 3 years before. Stroke, while waiting for pension that never came. Everything I had was in that school. The amount was not small. Some courses, 50,000 naira. Some, 80,000 naira. Project supervision, another story entirely. When someone complained, they were marked. Not officially, spiritually. Their scripts would disappear. Their names would be misspelled. Their CA scores would turn to dust. There was a boy in our class, Emeka. Quiet, brilliant, always at the front. He refused to sort. I no fit, he said. My papa be retired teacher. If him hear this thing, he go die again. Emeka read like his life depended on it. Because it did. All night, every night, his lamp burned. We watched him sometimes, eyes red, hands shaking, still turning pages. When results came out, Emeka failed 5 courses. 5! We stood around the notice board, and the silence was loud. He touched the paper, touched his name, touched it again. No, this no be me. Nobody spoke. That was the day something broke in us. Some students changed. Boys who used to attend lectures stopped coming. They learnt the new syllabus. Money first, brain later. Some joined Yahoo. Some started stealing phones. Some disappeared at night and came back with red eyes and strange confidence. Rumors of cult meetings spread. Girls, their own pain was quieter. Some started dressing differently, not because they wanted to, but because survival has a uniform. A lecturer would call, "Come to my office." Marks would rise, souls would fall. Nobody talked about it. Talking was dangerous.
One afternoon, a group tried to protest. Nothing violent, just placards, just voices. Education is not for sale. We deserve fairness. They didn't reach the Senate building. Security stopped them. Police vans followed. By evening, the leaders were suspended. By night, the rumor landed like thunder. The VC self dey inside. The VC, the highest voice, the final ear, the last hope. If he was involved, who do you cry to when the judge owns the court? That night, I couldn't sleep. The campus was quiet, but not peaceful. Somewhere a generator hummed. Somewhere laughter rose and died. Somewhere a girl cried softly into her pillow. I lay on my bed, staring at the ceiling. Is this how it ends? Is this what education has become? Then, I heard it. A sound, low, distant, like chanting. I sat up. It wasn't coming from outside. It was coming from the ground. The university was breathing. And for the first time, I wondered, what does a place like this demand in return for all the lives it crushes?
The chanting didn't stop. That was the strange thing. When I finally slept and woke up, it was still there. Not loud, not clear, but steady, like a heartbeat under concrete. I shook it off. Fear does that sometimes. It invents sound. Morning came with the usual noise, shouting, buckets hitting tiles, someone blasting WizKid from a cracked phone speaker. Life pretending to be normal. But nothing was normal again.
By the 5th week, the campus had divided itself. Not officially, not on paper, but everyone knew. There were those who had settled and those who had not. You could see it in how lecturers greeted students. Some names were called with smiles. Others were skipped like bad luck. During lectures, questions from certain students were entertained. Others were ignored, even when their hands shook in the air. One day, during public finance class, Dr. Ogunleye stopped mid-sentence. He adjusted his glasses, looked around the hall. Some people, he said slowly, are wasting their time reading too much. Laughter scattered like dry leaves. Book is good, he continued, but wisdom is better. His eyes passed over us, those of us still holding on to our pens like weapons. Then he smiled. If you understand how things work, you will not suffer unnecessarily. That night, 3 more boys joined Yahoo. Sola changed first. Sola used to sit beside me, used to borrow my notes, used to complain about lecturers. Then one morning, he showed up in a new shirt, clean sneakers, confidence hanging on him like perfume. Guy, make you relax, he said, chewing gum. System no be fight, now understanding. I watched him stop attending lectures, watched him appear only during tests, watched his name climb up the results list like magic. When I asked how, he just laughed. Life dey reward smart people. I didn't laugh back. Emeka stopped coming out of his room. After the 5 failed courses, he became a ghost. When I knocked, he answered slowly. His books were still open, but his eyes were empty. "They don't mark me already," he said one night. "No matter wetin I write now, then don't decide." I wanted to argue, wanted to encourage him, but my mouth refused to open, because deep down, I knew he was right.
The girls suffered quietly. Ada from Masscom used to wear oversized shirts and slippers. One evening, I saw her walking toward the staff quarters. Tight dress, makeup heavy, steps unsure. Our eyes met. She looked away first. The next semester, Ada's GPA jumped like resurrection. Nobody congratulated her. Fear settled into the campus like harmattan dust. Every conversation ended in whispers. Every laugh sounded forced. People watched each other, measured each other. Who had paid? Who had not? Who was pretending? Even friendships became risky.
Then something else started. Students began to fall sick. Not ordinary sickness, nightmares, sleep paralysis, voices calling their names. One boy from engineering ran naked into the night, screaming that his script was chasing him. A girl fainted in the library, murmuring course codes like prayers. The school clinic blamed stress, but the old security man at the gate shook his head. "This place don't collect too much," he muttered. "It dey hungry now." I tried to focus on my books. Every night, I read until my eyes burned, but the words refused to stay. Sometimes, while reading, the letters would rearrange themselves. Numbers became faces, paragraphs turned into mouths. Once, I slammed my book shut because I heard it whisper, "Why are you suffering when others are enjoying?" I laughed nervously. Madness was contagious here.
The protest leaders disappeared from campus life. One transferred. One dropped out. One was arrested for fraud months later. Nobody asked questions. Questions were expensive. Mid-semester tests came. The hall was full. Fans creaked. Sweat dripped. As the invigilator walked around, I noticed something strange. Some students didn't write anything. They just sat, relaxed. Some even slept. When time was up, they submitted blank or half-filled scripts with confidence. I submitted mine with shaking hands. Results were released 2 weeks later. I passed. Barely. Others, who I knew had not written a word, had A's. That was the day anger replaced fear. Anger is louder, more dangerous. That night, a meeting happened. Not official, not announced, just whispers again. Behind Faculty of Arts. Midnight. I almost didn't go, but something pulled me.
We gathered under a mango tree. 10 of us, faces half lit by phone screens. Emeka was there, thinner, eyes darker. "This thing no be ordinary again," he said. "This na organized wickedness." Someone spat. "We complain to who?" "VC?" Another laughed bitterly. "That man na chairman of the cartel." Silence followed. Then a girl spoke. Small voice, strong eyes. "My uncle works close to government," she said. "He say make we gather evidence." Hope entered the circle quietly. But hope is dangerous too. 2 days later, that girl was hit by a car on campus. A hit and run. She survived. Barely. Her phone disappeared. The evidence, gone. That was the warning.
That night, the chanting returned, louder, clearer, not from the ground this time, but from the walls. I sat up, heart racing. Names were being called, student names, lecturer names, even the VC's name, over and over, like a roll call for judgment. I covered my ears, but you can't block sound that comes from inside you. I realized then, this place was no longer just corrupt, it was cursed. And curses don't end quietly. They demand payment.
After the chanting began to say names, sleep left the campus completely. People still lay on their beds, eyes closed, but nobody truly slept, because once you closed your eyes, you saw things. The first death came quietly. No alarm, no siren, just rumor. A 200-level boy from accounting, Bashir, known for sorting heavily, never attended lectures, always laughing. They found him in his room at dawn, eyes open, mouth twisted like he was trying to shout but forgot how. No wound, no blood, just fear frozen on his face. The school said cardiac arrest, but the boys in that hostel said something else. They said he woke up around 2:47 a.m., sat straight on his bed, and started apologizing to nobody. I no say he go reach like this. Abeg, forgive me, make he no take my name. Then he screamed, not like pain, like recognition, and collapsed. By evening, the hostel was sealed. By morning, lectures continued. That was when we knew human life was now cheaper than silence. Emeka stopped talking completely. He followed me everywhere, like if he stayed alone too long, something would collect him. One night, he finally spoke. Tunde, he whispered, you believe say place fit get spirit? I didn't answer immediately. Outside, the wind passed through trees like fingers through hair. I don't see him, he continued, for dream. My throat tightened. See what? The school, he said, as a woman. I laughed nervously. You don't tire, guy. He shook his head violently. No, listen. Old woman, wrinkled, eyes red. She dey count papers, scripts. Each one get blood. I felt cold. She tell me say, if them no pay with money, them go pay with soul. Silence swallowed us. More things started happening. Cameras stopped working at night. Dogs refused to enter some areas. Lecturers began falling sick suddenly. Strokes, madness, accidents. One lecturer jumped from the 3rd floor of his flat, shouting, I return am, I return everything. Nobody knew what he was returning, but the ground received him anyway. The cult boys became bolder. When fear rises, darkness gains courage. Initiations increased, blood oaths, night marches. They said the school had opened a gate and power was leaking out. Some boys joined not for money anymore, but for protection. If spirit dey hungry, one said, make I hold my own knife. The girls paid differently. A final year girl from education, Blessing, went missing. 3 days later, they found her behind the old Senate building, alive, but gone. She couldn't talk, just stared. When she finally spoke weeks later, she said one sentence. They said my body is school fees. Exams approached. Pressure thickened. Lecturers became cruel. Some would smile and say, those who know, know. Others stopped pretending completely. Bring envelope, one said openly. If you no get, bring yourself. Nobody challenged them. because something else had started challenging them already. The chanting became structured. It always began at 3 a.m. Always. 3 slow knocks, like someone testing a coffin. Then whispers, then full voices. Sometimes Yoruba, sometimes Igbo, sometimes languages nobody recognized. But the message was one: we are owed.
I started seeing marks on walls, not graffiti, symbols drawn in something dark, blood or ink or something between. Security would wash them off in the morning. By night, they returned, bigger, closer to the administrative buildings. The VC finally spoke. An emergency assembly. Students gathered under the sun. He stood tall, smiling, calm. There are rumors, he said, meant to destabilize peace. Peace. A boy fainted while he said it. Discipline will be enforced, the VC continued. Any further unrest will be punished. As he spoke, a bird crashed dead at his feet. Silence. He paused, laughed awkwardly. Nature, he said, but his eyes were afraid. That night, Emeka didn't wake up. I found him in the morning, alive, but his mouth was sealed shut, not stitched, not injured, just sealed, like skin had never opened there before. Doctors were confused, priests prayed. Nothing changed.
I sat alone that night, shaking, and for the first time, I spoke to the school. Not out loud, inside. What do you want? The answer came instantly, not as sound, as knowing. Justice. I realized then this was no longer about sorting, or money, or grades. The corruption had become a sacrifice, and the altar was the campus itself. Somewhere far away, someone important's child had just gained admission, and the school was sharpening its teeth. The night the school finally spoke plainly, rain did not fall. The sky only watched. It started quietly, too quietly. No chanting, no knocks, no whispers. That silence was worse than any sound we had heard before, because when a place that has been crying suddenly keeps quiet, it means it is finished counting.
Around 11:40 p.m., sirens broke the stillness. Not police sirens, government sirens. Black SUVs rolled into campus, slow, deliberate, like pallbearers arriving early. Word spread faster than light. The Governor Sunday Camposo. No, na Commissioner Niece. No, na Big Man Pikin. By midnight, the truth landed. The Vice Chancellor's favorite project student, a quiet girl from political science, was the daughter of a man very close to the governor. She had refused to sort, like Emeka, like many of us. She read, stayed in the library overnight, trusted the system. Her result came out. Fail. That night, she collapsed in the hostel bathroom. Not dead, but unconscious, muttering strange words. When her father arrived and saw her state, he didn't shout. He didn't threaten. He simply said one sentence: "Bring everybody."
That was when the school started shaking. Not metaphorically, physically. Cracks spread across walls, lights burst, generators exploded, staff quarters lost power completely. People ran outside, prayers filled the air, students cried openly, lecturers locked themselves in. The VC tried to leave campus. His car refused to start 3 times. At exactly 3 a.m., the chanting returned one last time. But this time, it wasn't angry, it was satisfied. Names were called again, but now they were staff names, senior names, important names. The HOD of public administration collapsed in his living room, forming.
2 lecturers confessed publicly, crying, shaking, returning envelopes they had kept for years. One woman screamed, "We no know say e go reach this point." But spirits don't accept excuses. By morning, the campus looked like a battlefield. Government officials everywhere, security agencies, plainclothes men. The VC was removed before noon. No ceremony, no farewell. His office was sealed. His name wiped from the website within hours. The HOD was arrested. Several lecturers were suspended. Some disappeared completely. The girl was taken to a private hospital. She survived, but she never returned to that school.
A new Vice Chancellor was appointed within weeks. This institution, he said, will either be cleaned or it will close. Sorting stopped, not because people suddenly became righteous, but because fear had finally changed direction. Audits were done, scripts were remarked, results reviewed. Some grades were corrected, some lives could not be corrected again. Emeka's mouth opened one morning, just like that. He spoke one word, free. Then he cried like a child. By final year convocation, the campus felt different, still scarred, still heavy, but quieter, like a place that had vomited poison and was slowly recovering. Students attended lectures again, girls walked with less fear, boys talked about business and travel, not cults, but the memory never left. Sometimes late at night, if you stand near the old Senate building, you will hear it. Not chanting, not whispers, just a deep sigh, like a land that remembers. Corruption is not just stealing money, it is stealing futures. It is feeding a system with blood and pretending it is normal. Power can hide wickedness, but it cannot protect it forever. Because when institutions fail the innocent, something else rises to judge. And when justice finally comes, it does not knock politely. It enters through the strongest door. When leaders turn education into a market, the price will never be paid only in money. It will be paid in pain, until someone powerful enough feels it too, and only then change will come.